What is up, guys? Welcome to Diggity, a video game podcast, episode number 133. I'm Jeff James. As always, with me, the incredible, unobtainable, luscious Brody Faltz. How are you?
I am peachy. How about yourself?
Peachy.
But like a good peachy, not like the sarcastic peachy, like an actually good peachy. I'm good, man.
I'm doing good. Big fan of the San Francisco 49ers, you can tell.
Yeah.
One of their biggest fans.
Yeah, your boys are going to have to get their ass in gear.
Right? Yeah, no, basically, guys, right now, if you're listening to this, we actually recorded this little behind the scenes on Sunday. You're listening to this on Wednesday because obviously holidays.
Behind the scenes if we're live on YouTube right now. It's not too much
I'm talking to the audio people in the future.
Okay, just the audio
That's
people.
Right.
Gotcha.
But if you subscribe to us on YouTube, Diggity, you get access to these awesome live shows. So hit us up there on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also hit us up on our Instagram and Twitter at Diggity Podcast. Tell your friends, your family, your aunt, your uncle, your niece, your nephew, your dog, your stepdog, all about us. Word of mouth is the best kind of word of mouth. Ha! Get it in you. Nope. Okay. Been on break, baby.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. Today we are talking about what we kind of want to see in the next decade and what we think we might see. Which I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna toot our own horn. I'm gonna fucking pull the shit out of our foghorn. Literally, when we say stuff, generally speaking, we've had a pretty good record right now.
Yeah,
this year we've been pretty good. We've been pretty good.
We got a good average right now for sure.
Just like we know the Double Dash is coming back this summer, baby.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's gonna happen. Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure you said this last year and probably the year before that.
If I keep saying it and it might happen,
yeah,
I might be right.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
Anyways,
technically correct.
But before we jump into the topic, what did you play this holiday break, which is so nice to have?
I said I was going to get into Astral Chain. I have not gotten into Astral Chain. I've still been grinding away at Pokemon. I'm 30 something hours into it. Beat the last gym, but I keep spending a lot of time in the wild area trying to catch as many and all Pokemon that I will never use. They'll go into a corner of the box that I'll never touch again. And what else was I playing? Oh, I beat my friend Pedro. I started it and beat it all in one night. It's about 4 to 5 hours long. And that was a pretty fun experience. It's goofy. The controls are a little wonky sometimes. They don't make a whole lot of sense logically to me, but it works. Other than that, I don't know. I really haven't played much because I've been got an iPad, so I've been messing around with that, trying to get back into drawing. I did get a Switch Lite for Christmas from my lovely wife. So I've been playing Pokemon on my Switch Lite, and it's fantastic. I love that thing.
Do you like it more than your regular Switch? Because you're the dude that plays more portable anyways.
Yeah, for me, yes, I do. Just because I don't know, the Joy-Cons feel weird sometimes when they're on there. They want to like move and shift, and it's never bad per se. I had some that had some broken latches in there, so they would actually fall off, but that's been fixed since then. But I actually really like the portable little Switch Lite. I think it's the screen's just a tiny bit smaller, but it's not overly noticeable. It's still comfortable. I mean, it's not uncomfortable just because it's a little smaller or anything. I really like it. It feels a lot sturdier and it's very nice. Plus, it has the D-pad, like an actual real D-pad now, which is fantastic.
Guys, check it out.
Look at this. But yeah, definitely very, very fond of the Switch Lite. What'd you play?
Sweet. I played a melody of things.
Ooh,
a vast array.
A vast array.
Oh yeah. I played some Overwatch on the Switch.
Okay. Yeah.
I played I got into some Ni no Kuni.
Ooh. How much time did you put into Ni no Kuni?
Dude, like maybe like 2.5 hours. Not that much at all so far. But and then I got into.
Is it as good as you remember?
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, highly recommend.
I'm excited to get into it. That'll be my next Switch game after I do Astral Chain, because Astral Chain's only like 10 to 15 hours, so I'll knock it out and then I'll switch over to.
Yeah, this is fantastic. I can't speak highly enough of it. And then some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Played that at my brother's house. Gosh, what else? NHL 20 on PS4. Played that at a buddy's house.
There you go.
What else? Keep going. I played some stuff on my iPad, just
Mhm.
some little games here and there. Um, God, there's one I'm missing. Oh my god. Open. God, I'm gonna botch this, and it's ridiculous. TDD or TDR or TRD. So anyone who knows this is there's a roller coaster tycoon thing called
Oh,
Open
okay.
Roller RCT. Well, there used to be this game by the same dude, Sid Meier, and it's called Locomotive or Locomotion, something like that. And
Okay.
basically, it was like you owned like a transportation company,
Mhm.
everything from like public transit to like freight, like ships and everything, and aircraft. And basically you had to grow a transport company and manage your fleet and stuff like that. Well, someone did the same thing they did with like OpenRCT, where they made it basically multiplayer and some other stuff. So I took a whack at that on the Mac this holiday season too. And then God, there's one more I'm missing and forgetting about that I played, but I didn't. Maybe it'll come back to me. I got a lot of stuff in, so
Yeah.
here and there, and played a lot of NHL 20.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Well, I
that's
mean, that's what you do when you're in Canada, right?
when you're in the land, baby. When you're in the motherland. Yep. Played a lot of Leafs games.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
gaming stuff got for Christmas. Um, geez, what did I not much actually.
I got, Mario, Rabbids Kingdom Battle or
Oh
whatever it is.
yeah, good.
Yeah, yeah,
Good.
yeah. I got
Good.
that for
That's a good
Christmas.
game.
My in-laws actually bought it for my kids, and I was like, "Yeah, that might be a little too difficult." So they actually ended up wrapping it and giving it to me
God.
because
Yeah,
they
I
told
got
us beforehand, but my
uh,
kids got a bunch of Switch games. They got, like, that Ryan's World and some
oh
R
yeah, yeah.
Ryan's World. Oh god.
Ryan's World, like the YouTuber?
Yeah.
He has a game on Switch?
Yeah.
What? I gotta look
Yeah.
this up. Are you kidding me? What's in it?
It's like a kart racing game, I think.
No.
Side note here. Do you know that kid made $27 million from YouTube alone last year?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
And he has the, oh my gosh, that's him right there. They put his
That's him.
photo. He's like Trump. He's got his little photo in the court, the thumbs up. I mean, you can't escape him. Everywhere in the toy store, there's something
Oh, yeah. My
in the toy
kids eat
section.
that up, man. They love Ryan's World. It's crazy.
Oh my
Crazy,
gosh.
crazy stuff. But yeah,
Ryan's
my
World
kids got a handful
headphones.
of games. They got
Ryan.
I think Jurassic or Lego Jurassic World, Lego Movie 2, a couple other things. Oh, yeah, good gaming Christmas. We got my kids each their own Xbox controller. That way they can stop destroying mine.
Yeah, fair enough.
Uh-huh.
I didn't get much game stuff though, but aside from the iPad, which helps out for stuff like this, and um, some tools because we're purchasing a home soon. So I asked for tools
Ooh,
for
yeah.
Christmas. But yeah, anyways, that was that. So why don't we why don't we jump into kind of this topic at hand? Which, by the way, I might add, we were kind of worried about the general banter category. Seems
Oh,
to be
yeah.
doing fairly well.
Yeah,
People
that
seem
one
to enjoy
actually
it.
did pretty good, yeah.
I'm okay with it. But anyways, yeah. Do you want to start off with just a topic and how about?
Yeah.
I mean, we shouldn't make it a super long show, but I mean,
No, no,
maybe
no.
you bring up something we discuss for a couple minutes. I bring up something, back and forth.
Before we get into, like, the whole decade, I wanted to make a few predictions about this coming year.
Ooh,
Just this year. My first bold prediction, and it's one that I really don't wanna say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I don't think Cyberpunk is going to be as received as well as The Witcher 3. I don't I
Mm.
want it to be great because I'm thoroughly excited for that game, but I'm worried about, gunplay. I'm worried that the gunplay is not gonna be great, and it's gonna take a toll on the game as a whole. But, I mean, there are routes you can play that game supposedly that you don't even have to shoot a gun, but, I don't know. There's something about it that I feel like all of the hype building up to this game is going to be bad for the game in the long run. Because The Witcher 3 essentially launched with, I mean, very minimal fanfare. I mean, it didn't have anywhere near the hype as what Cyberpunk does. And The Witcher 3 was really the game that put CD Projekt Red on the map. So I think that game, I'm interested. Again, I'm really excited for this game. Don't get me wrong, but I am concerned that it may not live up to the hype. And I really didn't want to say that.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you. There's just a lot behind it.
There's a ton going on in that game. I also think Watch Dogs 3 is going to fall flat on its face because that's what Ubisoft has been doing lately. Unfortunately, again, because I am excited for that game as well. I actually do like the Watch Dogs series. I mean, you got to take it kind of for what it is. I mean, you don't expect anything too crazy, but Watch Dogs 2 was actually really good. But I think they might be trying to be a little too ambitious with this one, and it's just going to feel weird. I know it's something about it's not going to be right. And
like mushed together.
Yeah, the idea of being able to switch through so many different characters is just kind of, I don't know. I feel like they say that, you'll never come across the same character, but there's no way. It's not possible.
I wish game companies wouldn't do that. Like,
Yeah.
you don't need to do that. Just tell me that there's a
No.
bunch of people that you can use. It's like you'll never run to. It's gonna be like a No Man's Sky on first night.
Right.
Oh, here's a dude I just ran into.
Yeah. And that's what I'm concerned about. But as far as good things, I think Nintendo is going to launch something out of complete left field that does gangbusters for them. Something that we don't know about. Maybe
Like a whole new IP or just like
I think maybe they'll either have a new IP or a return of something that maybe Mario Kart Double Dash. I don't know.
Oh,
I think they're
don't
gonna
get
have
me.
they're gonna have some game this year that we don't currently know about that is just gonna do gangbusters. And then of course we're gonna have all the console launches in the holiday season, and we're gonna have all the lead up to that. I think Xbox is going to win some favor this year, big time. They've already been doing it in the last 2 years or so. I think as this goes forward, I think Xbox is going to maybe win some people over. I don't know. Everybody keeps bashing on the design of the Xbox, but I don't know if you've seen the dev kit or the supposed dev kit for the PlayStation 5,
Yeah,
but it looks like a spaceship from like Destiny. It's goofy looking.
the one before that. See, the PS4 dev kit was always pretty weird looking too. It looked like
Yeah.
a kitchen appliance,
Right.
but
So,
I mean, dev kits look weird in general, right? I mean, shit.
yeah,
I think
I think PlayStation is going to actually end up looking similar to how Xbox does. I think we're going to start getting into this realm of they're going to start looking more like a PC rather than a console, and kind of start to blur that line a little bit, which I think is great. And I think there's some. I think we don't know much about PlayStation currently or the PlayStation 5. I mean, other than the leaks and things like that. But I think Xbox is going to have something very interesting to do with their box. I don't think it's going to be as simple as it seems, and I think they're going to have some sort of new service that will launch alongside it. Those are my off the cusp predictions. What you got?
My predictions for the year coming up for 2020 would be, which is crazy, we're in 2020 already, but whatever. Would definitely be, so for Xbox, or sorry, let me start Nintendo. For Nintendo, I agree with you. I think that they're totally gonna do like I don't know if it's gonna be new IP. I think it's gonna be like something that we didn't see coming. I also think that we're gonna see a lot of Metroid, and be a little shocked at the launch date for Metroid.
I still think we might be a ways off on Metroid, personally.
I think that we'll also see a redesign of the original Switch with the removable Joy-Cons. Like, instead of this time just being battery, efficiency, perhaps no bezels.
We're gonna get that 8 or that Switch Pro.
Yeah, like a hard metal material, or like an aluminum instead of a plastic casing, and no bezels. Maybe like an OLED screen to help with the battery. and just nicer material, nicer look to it, better battery power, shit like that.
Do you think it'll launch this year, or you think it'll be revealed this year?
No, I think it'll launch this year because I think it'll get
Really?
shown off around E3 time,
I
and I think
think
it'll go for holiday season.
my personal opinion on that, I think it'll be shown off this year, and I think will release in spring 2021.
See, I thought about that because of obviously PlayStation and Xbox for holiday
Mhm.
season,
Stay away from
but
them a
then I'm
little bit.
like, I mean, fuck. I think the fact that the light, from what I've seen, a
Light
lot of the
seems to be
people who are
selling very
purchasing the
well.
light are people that already own the original Nintendo Switch.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so it's kind of like I think there's enough room there where they could launch it to where if it is a higher tiered item, the people that would be purchasing are the ones that either have both those already or one of the three. So I think that they still might
Yeah.
launch it within the holiday time. For Xbox, yeah, I totally think that we'll see a look at some other Xbox models this year, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
I think that we'll see a more in-depth look at the new controller because I think there's some stuff to the new controller that we aren't being shown in
Mhm.
terms of its internals. I think that the service that they'll launch that you alluded to will be xCloud,
Oh, yeah.
and
I think they'll have something else too.
that'll just do gangbusters. Um, I think that we'll see a ridiculous launch lineup at E3 or prior to E3 or at
Mhm.
their one of their own directs this year that will just be insane. Probably one of the best launches of a console.
For Xbox?
Correct. Yeah, for
Okay.
Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, they have what,
Oh,
16 studios now that
yeah.
there's quite a few of them we don't know what they're doing or
Right.
when it's coming.
Right.
So,
I think we'll see the Xbox be expensive.
oh, I'm
Um,
sure.
um,
I bet they're
I
both gonna be
This is
expensive.
this is more of a statement and a thought actually while we're on Xbox that I was thinking about while I was driving. I was talking to my brother about the new Xbox design, and he's like, "Yeah, it's an interesting design." He's like, "I don't really care about the design that much." And then I'm like, "Well, fuck! Like, what are they gonna do in terms of like different variations of this Xbox?" I mean,
You mean
obviously, it's
like
more.
special editions or
Yeah, because here's the thing: are they done with special editions or not? Because
no? Surely not.
basically this is a design that the Series X was. I mean, sure, there's a lot of real estate there for like murals and stuff like that, but I mean, it's gonna look cheesy as shit. Whether it's gonna look like it's like one of those GameCube skins from, from like way back in the day, or it's just gonna look super bland. But if they can do, I figured if they can offer the Xbox Series X in a different color from launch, aside from black and white, if they could do like those cool the controllers that fade from like a navy blue to a black or like
Mhm.
that amber to a black, that'd be fantastic. I mean, that'd be
See,
really
I don't
cool.
like those. Like, if it was something like this where it was like the Phantom where it kinda goes into,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
the
yeah, something
clear,
like that'd be
that'd
good
be
too.
cool, but the ones that you're talking about where it's still like a solid color, I don't care for those too much
The
personally.
gradient, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
I mean, I wanna see it, I wanna see what they do with that. I'm a little perplexed as to I don't know, it just seems like a weird move to me because it's like the rectangle, it just fit nice. You were constrained to your canvas, which I think helped them in a lot of ways,
Mhm.
versus, what's like a Madden edition Xbox Series X gonna be like? It's gonna be like a massive Tom Brady on the side of the fucking thing, or is there gonna be like one of those fat heads
Yeah.
on the side of the Xbox
I think
Series
they could
X?
do it tastefully enough, though. I mean, you don't have to use all the real estate, you know?
Yeah.
You could do, um, something a little more subtle on there that would be kinda neat, or you just do faceplates. Do faceplates for the damn thing,
Oh my god.
like the old
There's no
360
way they're
days.
gonna do face plates for it.
No, probably not.
It would be cool if they could do shells,
Mhm.
because the thing is basically like a Mac Pro, the old Mac Pro, where you can lift the whole case off of it.
Yeah.
That would have been cool, but I doubt it. Anyways, for Sony, for this year, they're gonna show the PS5. I think it's literally gonna look like the Xbox Series X.
I think so too.
I,
All the PlayStation fanboys that are knocking on the Xbox, be ready because it's gonna look the same. It's
well, it's
essentially
it's primarily for cooling purposes. You
yeah.
have to create a tunnel through the
Yeah.
entire core of that system now
Mhm.
for cooling purposes.
Oh, yeah.
Um, And so I think it's gonna pretty much look like a Series X, and it's gonna have like a PlayStation logo on the top right and a button in the bottom of it or something like that.
Mhm.
I think the PlayStation controller, it's gonna be just like I mean, I think in terms of hardware, both aren't going to be like, oh my God.
I don't
But
think
I
it'd be
don't
a
really
drastic
give a shit
change.
about hardware. And I don't think people really give a shit about hardware anymore either. I think they just care about the graphics of the games
Yeah,
and their ability to play them on the go now with the introduction of
right.
the Switch really changing things.
Well, and people are pretty fixed in their ways of, if you play on Xbox, you generally love the Xbox controller, whereas, people who play on PlayStation love the PlayStation controller because the
Mm-hmm.
DualShock's been the same for forever. And honestly, the Xbox controller has been the same since pretty much 360. I mean, there are some slight changes, but it's not anything drastic. I mean, they've kind of solidified what they want it to be and how they're going to do it.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think we're going to see anything drastic as far as hardware goes. I think, obviously the Xbox controller is adding the share button, which has been agreed, long waited, it's something they could have done a long time ago, but
Something nobody will use.
right. I never use it on PlayStation. I personally don't care. I don't use it on the Switch. I mean, it's not exactly the same on the Switch, but more or less.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It'll be fine. The way Xbox does it now anyway is fine too. You press the Xbox button and press X to record something or Y to take a screenshot. It's really not that difficult. That's
2 clicks, damn it.
2 clicks. But yeah, I don't know. I think the next year is going to be obviously pretty interesting because we are leading up into the next console generations for Xbox and PlayStation. I think
Mm-hmm.
we will start to see that next revision of the Switch, like you said. I think this is going to be a good year. We're going to hear a lot of good shit announced and a lot of exciting stuff. Honestly, I mean, just seeing the graphics for Hellblade 2. I mean, that's phenomenal, and that's just the launch of the console. Think of games that launched on Xbox One and how those were. I mean, I imagine what we're going to be at in 3 years down the road, and I think there's really a lot of cool things that can happen. But outside of just this year, unless you have anything else to add to this year,
No, I just think Sony's going to have an incredible lineup too. I think
yeah,
everyone's going to win.
oh yeah, I think that the only people who are going to lose are people who don't play on consoles, or I guess really most of those games come to PC anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
except for some of the real exclusives. But yeah, I think it's gonna be great. These are gonna be the best console lineups or launch titles that we've seen in years and years and years, if probably ever. Um, but
Right.
outside of just this year, do you have any predictions going forward? Maybe the next 5 years, and then we'll get to the next 10 years.
Yeah. Streaming, big thing.
Lots of streaming.
By the end of 5 years, I expect that we'll just literally be streaming fucking everything. Um, the fact that we're gonna have, even 5G, for example, mesh networks around us that basically are just there's going to be no need to really have lines going into homes anymore. Fiber going into houses is going to be redundant and useless.
Till we
I,
find out that it makes you grow a third testicle.
perhaps, but maybe that's a
There's
bonus for
that.
some. Lance Armstrong could use another one.
Hey.
The
Get his right nut back.
That's right. That's right. Alrighty. The No, like I think streaming is gonna be the thing by the end of 5 years for sure. I think Stadia will have shut down. Um, I hope I'm wrong. I really do.
You're not wrong.
But I think Stadia shut down. I think Xbox will still be the king of the streaming style of the platforms, and PlayStation will be a close second behind. And I think that's what's going to make Xbox truly gain over the next 5 years. This is the streaming paired with their Game Pass, which is just better marketed and just much. It's way it's managed a lot better as a community fashion than PlayStation does their
Yeah.
PS now. I mean, PlayStation sees that they're getting their ass kicked on that side, um, and that obviously they're going to be losing market share for that. But I think Microsoft. I mean, one is a company that runs cloud shit every day,
Mm-hmm.
well, the other is not.
Right.
So,
And I honestly do think that Microsoft is doing a way better job of marketing this, as well as just marketing as a whole. I think they
mhm.
really blow PlayStation out of the water in that realm. Honestly, Nintendo has surprisingly been doing a very good job of marketing lately. Like
Mm-hmm.
you see a ton of Switch commercials. I mean, they're very much those weird, like, hey, I'm at a party and I'm on a rooftop and I'm playing the Switch. Like, no, you aren't.
Here's me and my
You're
cousin
playing
in
beer
our
pong with everybody else.
here's me and my cousin in our $1.5 million modern mansion
Right. Absolutely.
playing Ring Fit Challenge.
But I mean, they are getting it out there, and that's
Oh
actually
yeah.
not something Nintendo has been historically very good at. I mean,
No.
so they are finally stepping into the right direction. But
But
yeah,
Nintendo's always been the cheaper option too.
yeah, that's true, and it's been generally kind of aimed more at a family friendly console, or even directly aimed towards children,
Mm-hmm.
in some cases. But I think I think you're right. I think streaming is going to be the thing that completely dominates for the next 5 years and I think it will take every bit of, 3 or 4 or 5 years
Oh
somewhere in
sure.
there before it's actually, a common thing.
Yeah, the
Uh,
infrastructure issue, right?
Right, and even, you gotta wait for 5G to make it all around and
Mm-hmm.
all of these things because there's, you can't completely, get rid of people out in rural areas or anything like that, or
Mm-hmm.
you lose a decent market share as well, so you're definitely gonna have to or they're definitely gonna have to wait for the rest of technology to catch up to, streaming, but I definitely think within 5 years or right around that 5 year mark is when we will see like, hey, now it is a thing. And I don't think Xbox is actually going to launch with a console that is just streaming right off the bat. I think we're going to be a little ways off from that. I think that'll be like one of their mid generation type things, or even a year or two in, or whatever. I also am kind of curious the way that these are designed. I wonder if they are actually finally going to let people go in and swap out hardware inside of the box.
No, I highly doubt that.
I mean, after 2 years, your warranty's up anyway. So it'd be nice. I mean, it would be pretty cool to be able to do that. And that was,
Will there be a side market for it? Maybe, because they're using a lot more um off the shelf components, I guess, for these
Mhm.
boxes now. But I don't know. I don't know,
Yeah,
dude. Well, no, I
that
mean, their
was one of the
processor
big,
is fucking strictly designed for it.
right. Yeah, and they do that solely so you don't run into a situation where you can't play games,
Yeah.
they do that on purpose, but at the same or on the same hand there, I mean, I have a day one Xbox One and there's some games I just can't play because they run terribly on the Xbox One versus the Xbox One X where they run fine. So you still kind of do run into that issue where like now certain people can't play certain games because they just don't work.
What would be fascinating to me is Microsoft's experimented a lot with external GPUs over the last
Mhm.
couple of years with their, Microsoft or with their Surface Book and Surface Laptop and all that kind of stuff. Um, I would be interested to see if 7 years, say 7 years down the road, we're going the latest stupid TV craze happens. It's 8K or 12K. I mean, there's 8K now,
Right.
which 4K is hardly being fucking used. But you've got 12K now. If they come out with something that you can plug into it and it uses an external GPU to high up res up into that 12K to extend the shelf life of that console for a period of time would be interesting to me. But I don't think that they're gonna let you make it easy to crack it open and do shit to it. I mean, you can do shit
No.
to anything, but it's like,
Another thing I kind of wonder about is if these console makers, Xbox and PlayStation, are going to lean into mouse and keyboard support even more than what they already kind of are.
oh sure, yeah.
I think they want to blur that line, and I think you'll start seeing things like an official stand or something that you basically like a bedside table type thing that you can put next to your couch and play mouse and keyboard now on Xbox. And but the big thing there is you're gonna have to separate lobbies and things like that. But I think they're definitely gonna
Mm-hmm.
lean into it because I think they really do want to blur that line between a console and a PC. And I think that's a smart idea, honestly. I mean, a lot of people love mouse and keyboard and a lot of people love their PCs.
Mm-hmm.
But, some people just like to sit on the couch and play it or, kick back and relax and play. And so you can play with controller or mouse and keyboard. I mean, Xbox has kind of already started to lean into that a little bit, but I think we'll definitely see it a lot more going forward.
Yeah, I think also, I mean, that as Phil Spencer said, that they want Xbox to be just encompassing as gaming as a
Yeah.
brand. And there's a lot of people out there that don't know a fucking thing about computers, but they want to
Oh
play
yeah,
games and they want to play,
absolutely.
a bunch of games. And I think that what you'll see people buying this. I think most games will have complete mouse and keyboard support, or it'll be a requirement for
Hmm.
games to have mouse and keyboard support. And I
Right.
think what you'll see people go out and buy monitors and they'll buy this and they'll set this on their desk.
Yeah.
And this will be their
And it'll
PC to play
essentially be a
games.
PC. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And then you'll have people have this in the living room and they'll use it for controllers. And then you'll have people who are like, fuck it, I don't want the box. I just want the streaming service.
mhm.
And they'll just pay the monthly premium for the streaming service. And Xbox just becomes a gaming brand and it becomes a unifying platform to just be able to play games on. And that's
Which
it.
yeah, which they're already making steps in that direction. I mean, we've already seen, how they're launching all the support for PC and they release their games on Steam now. So now
Mm-hmm.
you're buying from the, Microsoft, but it's on Steam or they're definitely trying to get rid of, hey, we just make Xbox. Now they're trying to be the service. They're trying to be more of an encompassing company rather than just, the console makers or whatever. So
Right.
I think honestly that's exciting to me. I'm really excited to see what they do with all that.
Oh, same.
You got anything else for, the next 5 years? I really think a lot of it's just going to be a ton of first party titles or even, second party or third party or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but I think we're going to see, just that huge push for streaming. And I think that's going to really encompass like the next 5 years or so.
Yeah. At the end of the 5th year, I think you will see a new Nintendo Switch, like Switch 2.
Okay. Yeah.
That'll be a lot more powerful. I mean, I guess it would get up to that, PS4, Xbox One, a little bit ahead of that level
You
in
think
terms
they're
of.
going to stick with that then? The whole idea of the Switch, the handheld console hybrid
Oh
thing?
yeah, yeah, I think
Think
so. I
so?
think the difference though this time around will be a fair difference between the graphical capabilities of it being in the dock and it being handheld. I think there's
Mhm.
only so much that they can do for the form factor to make it technically possible to have really good graphics, right? In a handheld factor.
Yeah.
And I mean, their answer might be streaming, but the problem is Nintendo's never good at services.
No. I
Like
hope
they're
they don't go that
so
route.
far behind. Yeah.
The thing I worry about is Nintendo never likes to stick to one thing. Once they
Mm-hmm.
do it, they go into something completely different on the next, console that they release.
Sure.
So I'm a little nervous that they are going to get away from the idea of the Switch, which I really don't think they should because the Switch is amazing. I absolutely love my Switch. My Switch and my Switch Lite now. But I really don't think that they should get away from that. But I am concerned that they will because that's the Nintendo way. You find
Mm-hmm.
something that works, and then the next one you just fuck it up.
Yeah, no, I think that they'll do a weird skew. I think that they'll do something where they come with a whole new Switch,
Hmm.
or they figure out a way to again use an external GPU through the dock and up res and give more power to your original Nintendo Switch, but maybe you can't play the games portable going
The
forward to that.
Yeah, I can see that being something they go to in the future. One thing that does concern me though, like even Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which was a game that launched, I think within the first year that the Switch was out, if I remember correctly,
Mhm.
that game looks really bad handheld, like
Oh
really
yeah,
bad. And
yeah.
it plays well on TV, but yeah, I mean handheld, it is just it's blocky. It just doesn't look right. Everything looks very fuzzy.
Well, Nintendo's
So
going to get pushed into a corner.
yeah,
Be-
and
like
the
they
thing
can't
is
continue
though,
to do what they do.
yeah, they I don't know.
In
It
my mind, they
works
have
for
to have a
them.
service.
Yeah, it works for them now, but I can see it becoming an issue in the future. The only thing is, like, I really don't want them to get away from that hybrid because I think that is what makes the Switch so special. So if you start getting into games that are only play on TV and you can't play handheld, or it's going to be one of those things where I think you're kind of right, or at least on the right track of like streaming to an extent, but I think it's going to be more like how PlayStation does some of their streaming, where it's actually running on the home console and then it just streams it to your Switch or I guess your phone for
Yeah,
PlayStation,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
I think it'll be something more like that where you'll still have a home console that will do most of the work, but you can like have like a second screen type of thing, or it's going to be something that streams to the handheld
Right.
version of it, almost kind of how the Wii U worked, but just better. But I think there will still be things that are fully playable, just handheld or whatever. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they try to jump over that next barrier because I mean they also don't care about graphics. They're generally always behind the curve on graphics, but it works for them because the style of games that they usually put out
Mm-hmm.
and just they usually have something about the console that makes it special enough to where you don't it's worth it. You know, it's worth taking that graphical hit a little bit.
I think I think what Nintendo would do I think if they're smart as a business is they would really heavily look into building a proper services team because I think in the next 5 years you have to build that streaming service. People are just going to fucking expect it.
Yeah.
And I think they don't even. I think what's going to happen is they're not really going to give a shit about the hardware. Like the
Right.
Nintendo console is just going to be like, cool, here it is off to the side. It's
Mm-hmm.
a service that runs on any of your devices to play their games. And then if you don't have an iPad, if you don't have a phone, if you don't have an older Switch, if you don't have X, Y, and Z, then here's this that you can buy to play our service on. Because
I
their
think that
shit
would
is games.
yeah.
It's never
Oh,
been hardware.
absolutely.
It's just the games. The hardware really is not the best.
Yeah, it has plenty of issues.
Yeah.
let's
I
let's
mean,
be really honest.
it's just a tool for you to play their games, which sounds stupid because people are like, "Well, it's a tool to play Halo." Yes, but at the end of the day, they're still trying to push the forefront of at least trying to give you extended and bigger fucking graphics on an Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
In what would be a consumer package that is readily available and somewhat cheap to buy.
I would be absolutely shocked if Nintendo ever did that though. Because
I,
that's not what Nintendo
yeah,
does.
yeah, but I mean, could we fucking did we see at the start of this decade? Would you ever thought, man, they're really gonna fucking work with Xbox on shit?
That's fair.
I mean,
That's
god
true. I
damn it.
mean, but they still are running their online service essentially through your phone. You still can't even chat with people through the console
Oh no,
on most games.
I
Like
agree with you.
they're
I don't
so
know if it's
far
gonna.
behind the idea of even
Oh yeah.
streaming that it's ridiculous. They don't even have their online service together yet.
No, I know.
So
I'm not saying that it may succeed. I'm saying that if they have a ton of money right now, I would assume as a company that they would be trying to build and acquire people to build an incredible online services team. Like I would want to build an online services team like a Disney or something like that.
I would
It
hope
took Disney
so, but
so
I'm
many
just
times to build something to
yeah.
work as well. And it's interesting though, right? Because look at it, you've got the company that really holds some of the most diamond top tier level IP. It's always so difficult for them to build the services behind the IP.
Yeah.
It's one or the
Which
other.
to me, it's absolutely surprising that that's an issue because, I
Right.
mean, good God, you're Nintendo. Put out an ad and you're gonna get millions of people that are gonna be like, "Hey, no, we build services, right?" And so they should. I mean, building that team should be the easiest thing in the world. You get those
Mm-hmm.
guys over there and they put it together, and it but for whatever reason, they just don't, and that's what's so
Well,
bizarre.
and I think the biggest thing too for Nintendo and why I say that they might want to do that is look at what mobile's done for them
Oh yeah,
and the point for which someone would have to have access, like a touch to that individual for them to go to your product has always been this fucking gate of having to buy the specific piece of hardware.
right.
If they can get into a service where it's just literally something that is a necessity nowadays in life, which would be your smartphone that everyone already has. They didn't have to design it. They didn't have to develop it. They didn't have to put the fucking R&D behind it. People already have it because they need it. And now they can just put their game out to an ecosystem of just millions upon millions of people. And boom, you can buy a game for 40, $50. They might be able to even friggin' shrink the cost of the game. Doubtful, but you'd be able to buy the game. And
I
that's why I
don't.
think that they're just excited about that. Like, I think that the bounds, I think they'll make something that looks like a Switch Lite or something like
Yeah.
that for like kids who don't have a cell phone or something like that or another device, but I think they're gonna get that service. It
I
makes
don't
so much
know.
money.
See, to me, personally, the idea of playing Nintendo games on my phone doesn't appeal to me. I like having a console. I genuinely do.
Yeah.
And I feel like there are a lot of people that do. Mobile gaming appeals to a certain market, and it's
Mhm.
not for everybody. And I
Well, but yeah, but
feel,
that's also it's been limited.
yeah, to an extent, but I mean,
Imagine XCOM, imagine Forza on your iPad, and you just have a controller.
yeah.
I
See,
mean,
on like a tablet, it's a little, I don't know. There's something about it I personally don't get into it. I
I think we've
genuinely don't.
been I think we've been scarred by mobile gaming because I
That's
definitely
true.
have. And mobile gaming to me is Candy Crush
Yeah.
or Mario Kart Tour, right? Where it's
Yeah.
dumbed down and stuff like that. We haven't had this ability to just, I mean,
The thing
play
is,
Tomb
like,
Raider on my iPad. I'm good to go.
but even then, I still view mobile gaming as a joke to an extent. Like, yeah,
Sure, yeah.
you got your Candy Crushes and things like that, but there's also legit games out there, and they cost, 10, $20 or whatever. But even
Mhm.
then, in my mind, I'm like, why would I pay $10 for a mobile game when it's the
Right.
same damn game I could get on Xbox or whatever half the time? But it's like,
Oh.
I don't know. To me, the I don't personally play games out and about very often, so mobile just really doesn't appeal to me. Most
Mhm.
of the time, I'm playing games at home, and yeah, I play on the Switch or on the Switch or the Switch Lite pretty often. But that's just because I don't know. I don't know.
I don't
Something
think it's
something
more
about it's not.
I don't think it's more of like a on the go kind of dealio. I
Yeah.
think it's just more the courtesy of it. I mean, think about it. In a 5-second decision making process, you'd be like, I want to play some Xbox. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna get X Cloud.
Right. Which
And
again,
now
you're
I have
still
an
going to rely
Xbox.
heavily on the streaming side of it, which is
Yeah.
still the service that they have to
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
build.
yeah.
Which I don't have hopes for Nintendo building that service because for
Right, right.
whatever reason they don't think they can get the people to make the right ecosystem that they need. It's just
God, no.
bizarre,
It is pretty
bizarre.
wild. And they'll have
So
more money than God to be able to invest into a team, but it'll be
yeah.
like just I don't know.
They certainly have the brand recognition and, like you said, more money than God to put into it, and they just don't. It's amazing to me. So anyway, past 5 years, what else do we have? What do we got? I'm
Um
thinking,
oh, past 5 years. So the latter
pa-
end.
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
that right, you're
yeah,
10 now. And that
yeah,
so
5 to 10
2029.
years.
Jesus.
2020. That seems ridiculous. Obviously, I think we'll be well. Shoot, I will be getting into the next console generation. At some point in there, I would think. Um,
Services, no consoles anymore.
yeah, but you'll still have like a box or
A
a
box
streaming
if you want to
thing
buy
or
it. That's what I
whatever.
think. Yeah. That's
So
what I mean.
maybe just like essentially like a little Chromecast looking thing that you can put into some TVs. But honestly, most
Yeah.
of the time, I think it's going to be just an app. I think you'll be able to have an app
Mhm.
on a smart TV on your 12K smart
Your
TV.
12K 150-inch fucking
Yeah.
credit card thin television.
Yeah, it spans the entire wall in your house. We'll have haptic feedback where, when you're playing Call of Duty and you get shot, it hurts like hell because we're going to be Ready Player One in 10 years. I mean,
Oh my god.
no, I don't think we're not going to be that far, obviously. I don't think, but who knows? You never know, man.
I'd like to
Elon
see
Musk is
them,
a crazy motherfucker.
he's cooking something up. I'd like to see, them bring back I forget what the project name was, but the thing, this could even be in the next 5, but, um, uh, whatever the project name was for the Xbox stuff where basically it was like a projector, but it projected stuff outside of your TV, so, like, if you got shot or something exploded, it would, like, strobe, up
Hmm,
against your wall
I
or,
don't
like, for
remember that one.
Forza. No? Oh, it was in, like, a couple E3s ago. And it was basically like this like little blue sky project that they were working on. And they'd be like using Forza, like they'd be playing Forza Horizon, right? And like your car would drift by like a bunch of leaves. Well, then leaves would roll across like your wall, or there'd be like, your car would backfire. It would do a quick little flash and just kind of immerse
Hmm.
you a little bit more. Because my thing is, I think VR is going to be gone.
You think it's going to be gone?
Yeah, I think it's going to go AR. I mean, VR is dumb.
Really?
Yeah, VR is like a steam engine and AR is like the fucking, internal combustion engine. I mean, why would you fucking try to recreate an entire world when you can just impose the world inside of real world society? It's double
I
the
think
work.
AR has limitations though. I mean, you're not going to be able to jump into like a full fledged like war zone in an AR environment. I mean,
Yeah,
that takes the immersion out of it. When I look over and
but
I
people are
see
also
I have a
dumb.
shitload of pops, but there's also a dude over here in the corner shooting at me, like that takes me out
Yeah.
of the immersion. Like the whole idea of VR is it's supposed to be essentially this deep dive experience where you are being thrown into a new world, which it's a big ask for the people making those games for sure. But I think I think VR, I personally like VR more than I do AR.
Yeah, well, I think AR in terms of commercial, like consumer based stuff, is like Pokemon Go and some other little dinky stuff has been used pretty stupidly.
Right.
But for me, for VR for gaming, I think VR has practicalities in like surgery practicing, crane stuff and different, commercial applications and training purposes. But VR gaming, I don't see it. I mean, the problem with VR gaming is people are inherently stupid.
You are correct.
You throw someone into a world, they get dizzy, they get confused, they don't know where they're at, and now it's literally all on them. There's no disconnect from it because now they're literally wearing the fucking thing. They just get frustrated with it. They get annoyed at it. Some people get sick at it. It's just not liked. It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, it's liked by people who are early adopters and people that think it's going to be the future. And people are like, well, I want the latest and greatest thing. I want to be in my game. The best VR games that have fucking done well for people and won people to, got people to buy VR stuff has been like Beat Saber. Quick
Mhm.
gimmicky games. There's no difference between Beat Saber, dude, and Tap Out on your iPod Touch back in 2007.
Fair enough.
Right? There's no crazy application to it. There's no
Right.
like
There's been,
no.
there's been a few, like, shooter games that have done well, but there's just still a lot of issues with it, and I think as it continues, I think they're figuring out a lot more. But yeah, currently as it stands, it's not looking great, but there is a pretty passionate fan base behind the
Mhm.
VR community,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of push towards it. And I think one of the big things that's going to be a tell for the rest of VR going forward is going to be Half-Life Alex. If anybody can do it, if anybody can make a damn good VR game that's going to be
Oh boy.
revolutionary, it's gonna be Valve with Half-Life
Yeah.
Alex. And
Well,
if
I
that
think that's the
flops,
the
if
kind of
it doesn't do well, that's when I would be on board thinking, yeah, we're just not there. It's just not gonna take off. But I think it's still to an extent early enough that um it's still expensive for one, so it's hard for people to get into.
right.
It still makes people sick, but I think some of that could be fixed on the development side. I think there's a lot of things that are still to be learned on the development side
Mhm.
before this completely takes off. But I do actually believe that VR could be way more of a common thing going forward, especially now that we have, what is it, the Oculus Quest? Is that the one that
Yeah.
doesn't have wires? So now
Yeah.
your setup's a lot less. But the biggest thing is VR takes a lot of room to actually get into because you have to, I mean, you got to push your couch out of the way. So
Change
you
the way
don't,
you play.
yeah, it's drastically a different thing.
That's my biggest problem is you have to change the way you play, and typically the people who are they're advertising to and the people who are most likely to purchase that are the hardcore gamers right now. I
Mhm.
think if VR can focus on making games like Beat Saber and then making games like Half-Life Alex, where it's going to be more of a storytelling experience and not this crazy adventure shooter and all this crazy shit going on, I think people will be happy with it. I think it will
Uh,
succeed. But
there
if it
looked like a lot
tries,
of crazy shit going on in Alex.
yeah, if they want to do more like Telltale, or like Life is Strange, shit like that, where you can walk around the environment if you like, look at clues and stuff like that, not a problem. But when you start putting someone into like a, for an FPS or something like that into it, I mean, that's where I think people get annoyed at the fact that they're not good at the game, and they're not good at holding a controller playing the game. They're in the fucking game now, and they're just not good, and it frustrates the fuck out of people. I talked
Yeah.
to a friend who was playing his VR, and he says, "I'm not good at it." I'm like, "Well, like, do you need to play it more?" He's like, "No." He's like, "It's fucking, it's my reflexes."
Mm.
He's like, "It's fucking me." he's
I
like,
can't
if I
I can't fix that.
right. I mean, this is what got me thinking about it because he's like, if I go, he's like, Jeff, you're good at hockey, and he's like, I'm good at fucking basketball. If I go and try to put fucking skates on, and I say, yeah, time to fucking play a game, right? If I want to play hockey, okay, on my Xbox, he's like, I go grab my controller. I know how to fucking move the sticks on the controller. I know how to do stuff on the controller. Not a fucking problem. He's like, I use for VR. I put my fucking skates on. Now I have to look around fucking more. I have to understand how to look around in hockey. I have to understand why would I fucking look over there in hockey versus just moving the sticks over or seeing an outside view or wider view within the game. He's like, and I just sit there and I go, I'm not fucking good at it. He's like, if you want to go play basketball and you have to shoot a fucking 3-pointer, do you know where your fucking feet have to be? Like,
Right.
not really.
Well,
He's like,
and
good.
some of that is stuff that could be learned, but there is also still that element of the hand-eye coordination. Like
Yes,
to
precisely.
get the hand-eye coordination on a controller is one thing. To actually be like to where you're going through and clearing rooms like you're on a raid, like that's
Yeah.
a whole nother ball game. Like that's a
Situational
whole nother
awareness.
thing. Right.
Situational awareness.
Yeah,
Because
and
everything
some
up to
of
this
that
point
just
has
can't
been
be trained. Like, I mean,
right.
to an extent, sure, yeah, you can learn some, but I don't know. That's also something you still run into in regular gaming as well. Some people just aren't aware of what's going on around them. But
And that's why I
in
think it's a
VR,
great
it's
training tool.
amplified. It's completely amplified.
Right. And that's why I think it's a fantastic training tool.
Yeah.
Because if you practice it enough,
Honestly,
I mean, you'd be fucking. I bet you if you got someone playing basketball in VR, okay, and you got the basketball, like you got them a real basketball, that kind of shit, and you made them do that hours a day for months, they could hit a fucking court and be unreal. Dude,
maybe
they would definitely help them. But if you
it would
ask them,
help, but I don't
if
think
you
they'd be
ask them,
unreal.
if you ask a guy who plays a shit ton of basketball now to play in fucking VR, he'd fucking suck.
Yeah. I don't. I think there's a certain for a sport, it's different. Like if you're talking about a simulator where you're playing, surgery, you're playing you're doing a game where you got to do open heart surgery and it's training you the different parts of the heart, the different things
Yeah,
you have to
like they
do.
they're using
That's
it now
one
for it, yeah.
thing, right? Which it is an effective training tool where nobody's life is on the line. But the idea of somebody playing VR basketball and then going out onto a court and being the next like LeBron James or something.
I think more in the essence of like a 3-point shoot, like a shoot.
Maybe, but I mean, you're
That's the
you're
thing though
still
too, right?
dealing with the weight of the ball. There's still a lot of different things. You can still have incorrect form while playing in a VR game and still get it across that you're doing it correctly because that's things that the developers have to do in order to make it accessible to more people. So
Mhm.
still going out and playing basketball would be different than playing it in VR. I think it would be obviously a big help. I think you would definitely get better, but I don't know. I don't think it, you go into NBA 2K VR and you're playing that and you win the finals. You're just amazing, right? You're the same par as like LeBron and Michael Jordan type thing, and then you go out on the court. I think there's a divide there.
The problem is too, it's just limiting. I mean, I can
Yeah.
go play NHL 20. I know for a fact that they can make an NHL game for an Xbox. They cannot make it. They can never make an NHL game for VR.
No. No.
I mean, it would just be
I
too
don't
much
think
shit
sports
going on.
games would yeah, I don't think sports games would translate very
Unless it
well
was a
as
shootout or fucking whatever.
yeah,
Again, a
as
gimmicky game.
VR sits now.
Right.
Currently, we're still in that gimmicky stage, but if we do get to the point where VR is better and they get a lot of things solved, I think we could eventually get to that point. But the biggest thing is there going to be a certain threshold that developers and designers are going to hit before they're just like, no, this isn't going to work? Are they going to keep pursuing it? Is going to be something that is going to be constantly pursued, or else it will fail? That's the biggest thing is when do people pull out on it?
Right.
No.
Um,
Anything
okay.
else for 10 years? We
My
got on that
question.
VR
Yeah.
thing.
One last question before we wrap it up.
Mhm.
Um, GameStop. Does it
Oh, long gone.
survive?
No, long gone. Won't even last 5 years.
Ooh, I disagree with you on that. And the only saving grace I give it is that if these new consoles have absurd download times and you can purchase a disc to which most of the game is on that disc already and it alleviates those download times, especially in areas that we live in, minus your home in Auburn, I think people will actually go buy physical copies of the game more than they would the digital copy in those areas. And that's the only way. But beyond 5 years, I don't think, yes, I agree. I don't
You
think
already have to
GameStop.
download games. I mean, even from the disc currently.
Yeah, but you don't have to download the whole fucking game. You have to download the
It's
update.
most of it. No,
No,
you
but
have
the
to
game,
download the game
yeah, but the game's downloading from the local
from
copy.
the disc. Yeah, it's not
Yes,
using
the internet.
internet.
Craig,
Right.
Craig
Right.
is all I have
Right.
to say.
Fair enough.
Can you imagine, Craig, 120 gig
Right.
game?
Oh.
It would
Well,
take him 2 weeks.
it takes him 4 days to download like a 40 gig update.
Right.
So
Right. And I think that like for the first couple years, I think that might help them a bit.
Right.
And it might be like one of those like little like cheat things that people are like, oh, just go buy the game first. And then you only have like, 15 or 20 gigs to download aside from downloading the local copy from the disc and then the internet side. That might help them out. Other than that, yeah. I mean,
5 years, they're still long gone.
does anyone
It's
buy
gonna
them or
be
no?
2, 3 years. What's that?
Does anyone buy them?
No. They've already tried to open it up to not investors, but for people to buy it. Nobody fucking wants it.
Yeah.
It's a sinking ship, man. And even then, why do you need GameStop? You can go to Walmart and buy the disc. All of these other retailers can do multiple things and
Right,
excel
yeah.
and still take a hit on certain things like video games. Whereas GameStop, that's the only thing they have.
Yeah.
Anymore, you don't even need them. I mean, you can buy it from Amazon, you can buy it from Walmart, you can buy it from Target. All these different places have it.
Well, we
I
thought
I
they were going to be better into like the PC and like the
Well, they're
esport. Oh, I do have one more
trying.
question, but yeah, the that stuff. But then we saw the leaked image of the
Yeah.
community area and we went, oh boy.
I think it's 2 years max. Because I
Ooh,
mean, they're constantly losing money as is. They've already shut down ThinkGeek, which honestly, in my mind, I would have shut down GameStop before I would ThinkGeek. I think
well, they fucking
ThinkGeek has.
ruined ThinkGeek because ThinkGeek Online. They should have just left it alone and just had some
Oh
little
yeah,
pop-up shops here and there. Would
yeah,
have done great. But the problem with them is they hold so much inventory in my mind. I
yeah.
mean, there's shit that sits there forever.
Oh yeah. I, I, I'd be surprised if they even make it to the 2 year
Did
mark.
ThinkGeek
I
shut
mean,
down at
it's
our
been
mall?
2 years now since they've been talking about basically tanking, and they're shutting down stores left and right and firing employees and all this
Yeah.
stuff. Like, I don't know, man.
Did,
I'd be surprised they even make it 2 more years.
did ThinkGeek shut down at Glenbrook at our mall?
No, it's still
Not
open
yet.
right now.
Still open.
Hmm.
I mean, they're right fucking next to each other. Like, why not just incorporate them together?
I don't think they have the space. They like you said, they have so much inventory. You walk
Uh,
into ThinkGeek, it is jam packed.
there's also got to be some sort of like tax purpose or something on that end too.
There could
Because
be.
if two entities shared like one location under one thing, I don't know, something weird. There's probably some
Yeah,
weird business.
I'm sure there's something, but it's obviously not saving their company because they're struggling hard.
Oh yeah, they on the struggle bus. I
Big
could
time.
see Amazon purchasing some of the stores solely to turn them into Amazon Go's.
I think that's something you would see. I think honestly,
Like the one that we went to get Super Smash, that'd be a
mhm,
perfect Amazon Go location.
yeah, or even just turn it into a small Amazon game store. They could have a few pop up ones here, like put one in each major city type of thing. Amazon has enough money to do something like that, and they could excel. And it could just be a small little thing. It doesn't even have to be anything large. But I think something like that would excel. But I don't think anybody's going to stick out a hand for GameStop and try to save them or to
Side
buy them or anything.
side comment, I don't know why Amazon doesn't buy gas stations.
Don't know. I
Be
mean,
fucking brilliant. Completely unmanned. Amazon Go is completely unmanned. There's an Amazon Go in Chicago when we were there last weekend.
yeah,
Yeah, looked great. Didn't go in it. It's
I don't
fucking
know.
closed. But it looked fantastic. I mean, it looked clean as
Unmanned
shit.
and it was closed. What's the fucking point of that?
I think they're still in trial.
Okay.
So basically, it was closed it's closed on the weekend,
Uh-huh.
and I think what they do is I think like the Amazon guy goes in there, or people go in there and they
Mm,
stock it on the
gotcha.
weekend. But I'm sitting there like, well, fuck, I need a convenience store on the weekends for convenience. I mean,
Yeah.
this would be part of the reason
Hmm.
why we might not be able to have an unmanned store, but
I
whatever.
mean, I think Jeff Bezos probably knows what he's doing. He's like one of the richest men alive, so
Maybe,
he
maybe.
might have an idea of what he's doing.
One last question.
Okay.
Before wrapping up, I forgot esports. I'm curious to hear your answer because I think you'll be surprised by mine.
I
Esports, where
assume
the fuck do they go?
I assume you're gonna say something like it's gonna die.
No, not die.
I think it's just gonna keep getting larger.
Okay.
I
Like
mean,
the
think
word esports and esports as a whole, or the audience, or like I mean, like the business of it is as a whole. Just you just think it's gonna keep getting bigger and bigger and
I
bigger.
I think it's just gonna keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. If they are given the stage, they can grow it. I mean, think about how many people play games. More people play games than that people that play sports. I mean, in all honesty, so
Oh
you
yeah.
figure there's definitely the audience for that, and the generation that is growing up, like my kids, they are very much into watching people play games. And I mean, while our generation isn't necessarily, there is obviously that generation that does enjoy that. And as they continue to get older and have the ability to watch more or go to these events, I think it's just going to keep getting larger. And eventually, most of these esports teams don't really make a ton of money. Well, like the actual players do, but like the owners of the teams generally aren't making a bunch of money. But I think eventually it will get to a point where they're making money like a NFL team type thing. I mean, maybe not quite that large, but
Hmm.
of a professional team, I think there is that potential. That it's just got to get away from the weird gamer stigma. That's the problem. There's this stigma of some of these esport events where it turns into almost like a Comic-Con, and that actually scares some people away.
Hmm.
I think that's the only issue. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it does scare people away from going to that aren't into that actual environment and into, people walking around dressed up as their favorite League of Legends character or whatever.
That's a tall order. That's like asking the jacked up dude at a UFC fight not to go to the game.
Right. And it's not going to happen. And I know it won't, but I think there is potential that it could grow or that stigma kind of gets knocked down a little bit as, I don't. I'm not exactly sure how that will all shake down, but I fully do think that esports can go up from here. I mean, you figure Ninja's the very first esports player to be put, or not esports, but gamer to be put on the cover of ESPN, right? And
And he
that
won an
happened
SP.
just this year. Yeah, you won an SP. Like all of these things are showing that it has potential to grow, and it's making steps in the right direction, but it's just going to be a matter of how they handle it going from here, I guess.
Yeah. For me, I think in order for esports to pass a wall, like I think like a League of Legends and like Dota and stuff like that is fantastic, and
Mhm,
that will continue to grow because
mhm.
that's a huge base upon it. The problem I have is that esports is a lot of fucking segmentation. So
Oh
like
yeah,
take in like your professional sports leagues, which esports continually wants to. It's called esports. They're trying to mimic professional sports
right.
within a gaming realm, right? The problem with that is they're
Just too many
making,
games.
yeah, they're making too many leagues,
Mhm.
and they're all different. It's not like you watch the NHL, which are the pros, and then the AHL, and then the OHL, and then there's this linear progression up to the pros from the juniors to the pros, right? It's like you have fucking five different kinds. It's hard to explain. It's like you
No,
have
I
different
gotcha.
sports. You have
Yeah,
like a
you
baseball, a
got
basketball, a
right.
soccer, a fucking football, and a hockey,
Well,
and
even
then there's
just within
different leagues.
the MOBA realm, you have Dota, you have League of Legends. I guess
Right,
that's probably the two main ones right there. But if you're talking about shooters, I mean, there's Call of Duty, there's Halo, there's
right.
Overwatch, there's all of these different
Hmm.
games within the realm, and that is the issue you do run into with esports because they try to do too much. There's too many leagues, but at the same time, there's a fandom for all of these sports, but it's not large enough to promote each individual esport in
Right,
itself. Like you
correct.
got Rocket League esports, awesome, love it, super cool. These guys are incredible at the game, but it's not for everybody. Not everybody wants to sit there and watch this. Like I watch a little bit of it, but even then I don't watch all of it. I mean,
Right.
there's just so much that they're trying to do. It's not like you just have hockey, baseball, football, basketball,
Right,
you
that's my
don't have
thing.
like just 5 main sports. Now
It's
you
like
have a
reversed.
ton. Right.
It's like reverse because you'll have a MOBA, right? And like you said, you'll list off like the 3 or 4 different fucking MOBAs. Well, let's say MOBA is akin to like a football. Okay,
Mhm.
so I may have played football as a kid. Cool, my friends have played football. We've all played the same fucking game.
Right.
Now, my only job as a viewer, right, is to choose, cool, so it's the same game. What league of the same game do I want to watch, right? Is it going to be the XFL or is it going to be the NFL? If it's going to be that, now I have teams to choose from that all play the same fucking game
Right.
versus the esports stuff, right? Is cool. Me and my friends play League. We're just going to watch League because that's League and that's a
Mhm.
MOBA, but League is different than Dota. Dota is different than X, Y, and Z. And so I think it like because it's fucked because esports originally started with like MLG, right? Where it was just basically like they built a game or they used Unreal Tournament as like a
Mhm.
generic general test, I guess,
Right.
if you will, for gaming ability. And
Mhm.
that doesn't work because
Right.
all that basically is like someone going through it's like American Ninja Warrior. It's like someone
Right.
going through a fucking little trial course. That's dumb. There's not these little anomalies that happen in play or scoring and stuff like that. And so now what they're doing with the segmentation, you're never going to be able to build audiences that are big enough that would be taking esports as a whole, I think, as serious or be able to have long-term sustained growth. I mean, like a league is an anomaly. Aside from that, like a Rocket League, for example,
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah.
like
The
where
market's
does
slim
that
to an
right? So
extent.
so you're just it's interesting because you're having all these sports come up and then the sports die off. And
Yeah.
then nobody plays the sport anymore versus like the NFL celebrating, 100 years, right? Of a league of a sport. It's interesting. You looking up stats?
I'm looking up list of esports games.
God, it's got to be retired.
Street Fighter, Super Smash Bros, Marvel vs.
Don't.
Capcom, Tekken, Killer Instinct are your fighter games. First person shooters, you have Doom, Quake, Counter Strike, Call of Duty, Unreal Tournament, Halo, Painkiller, Battlefield, Crossfire, Overwatch, Team Fortress 2, Rainbow Six Siege, Alliance of Valiant Arms, and Special Force 2. Real time strategy, you have StarCraft Brood War, Warcraft 3, and StarCraft 2. For sports games, you have FIFA, Madden, NBA 2K, Pro Evolution Soccer, and Rocket League. For racing, you have Gran Turismo Sport, iRacing, Project Cars, and Trackmania. Trackmania's okay. Multiplayer
Hmm.
online battle arena, you have Dota, League of Legends, Smite, Heroes of the Storm, Vainglory, and Mobile Legends Bang Bang. And some others are Gears of War, War Thunder, World of Tanks, World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, Pokemon, Puyo Puyo, and Tetris. That is the official Wikipedia list of esports games.
Right. So it's like how do you grow
Right,
with all those finger quotes sports
right.
around you constantly,
You have
taking people away?
7 different categories, and the 7th category is just a catch all. I mean, essentially.
Right.
But even just first person shooters, you have 14 different games.
So 14 different sports
Yeah,
just for that one category of sport.
right.
And that's not different like leagues because I mean, you can't. They're all different. They play all different.
Oh, absolutely.
For me, I think they've got it. You have to do something that is almost Olympic style, to which you have leagues like the FPS league for esports, and like teams literally play like
So like
three different
well,
games,
I mean, like
or they make shit.
Cloud9 has like a leagues team. They have a Rocket League team. They have a they have an Overwatch team too, don't they? Cloud9.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
So I mean, they kind of do that to an extent, but yeah, I get it. Like you
yeah, I'm
need to
saying more
have
the
like an
event.
event. Yeah,
Yes.
one event.
Yeah, like the event is just here's FPS, and the same fucking team needs to play COD,
Yeah.
a bunch of
I
other
think
FPS
that would be
shooters.
the way you need to go with it. I mean, you need to.
Otherwise, I mean, how do you can never get people to relate because then
Right.
they pick up League, they go, fuck, I'm done with League. I'm gonna go to Dota. Well, if
Mhm.
there was a game that was created for this kind of measure of skill,
Right.
or there was just, I mean, I don't know. I
Right.
feel
They need to have like an esports FPS, and that is the event. That is the whole event. It's not just a tournament for, just Call of Duty or whatever, like
right,
like you're saying. And so then you have this event, and now you get people that are watching just for the Call of Duty content, but they're also now watching Halo. They're also now
right,
watching Counter-Strike because they're watching their team. They're invested in a team now. And that's
right,
how you make it a team sport. Like you said, people watch things in the Olympics that they don't give a shit about because they want their team to win, right? You
right,
watch the USA go and play sports
right.
that you don't give a shit about at all just because you're cheering them on, or Canada or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it's always like I think you're onto something there. I really do think that's how you would have to go forward. Now you have a fighting tournament, and that is just the four fighting games, and
Yeah,
each team has a sub team within their team. So like Cloud9, for example, they
yeah.
now have a team for Killer Instinct, Smash Bros, Tekken, and whatever the last one was. I don't have the list up anymore, but and
Right,
that's how you do the event now. And now it's a bigger thing rather than having larger tournaments. You consolidate that a little bit into different teams that now are a part of a larger organization or a team. So like again, Cloud9. And I think that would be how you market that event and how you make it actually work in a real environment. And then you
right.
can rotate games out, like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
eventually
Sure.
like I mean Painkiller, I genuinely don't even 100% know what that is, never played it, but
Yeah,
say that rotates out or something, and now you bring in a new game, and that becomes a staple of your FPS games
right.
for a while. Or with your Call of Duties, you rotate it out every year for the newest Call of Duty or whatever. Like you
Mhm.
always have to have that progression, but at the same time, now you have it consolidated into a point where people can actually cheer for something
Right.
and enjoy watching it
But
rather
that's
than just
the
watching
thing
one thing.
is I think esports genuinely wanted to be that, and what has happened is companies have created into an environment to encapsulate fans in a community and hold them just within that bubble
Right.
to make buttloads of fucking money. Which
Yeah.
is fine, that's business, dude, I get it,
Yeah.
but if there's one side that's pulling saying, "Well, we want esports to be a big thing," but all you're doing is having your Overwatch League series and that's it, and eventually it's not gonna fucking grow. In fact, for a fact, eventually all it's going to do is fucking die
Right.
because the game eventually is not going to be played that much.
Mhm.
You're not promoting what would be akin to what you're trying to fashion to be, which would be sports, which would be a long-standing history and league surrounding by an activity,
I think
right?
that is part of the difficulty there as well, though. Like you said, football doesn't really change. Like the NFL pretty much stays the same. You get a few rules that change, but
God damn
it's
it,
not
yes,
like
you
there's a
do have
new
rules to
iteration
change.
coming out all the time. So
Terrible
like
refs.
so like Overwatch for example is one that is kind of difficult because the player base goes up and down so much, and there is now you're putting a lot more pressure on the company to create a game more frequently so you keep that player base up. There's esports have a lot of weird caveats that regular sports don't suffer from, and it's just it does make it way more difficult for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know. I really would like to see something in that kind of Olympic-esque kind of feel to it, where we just amalgamate things, but it's not going to happen because it's what keeps people into these games and these environments, and then it's what
Yeah.
makes the money, right? It's a
Yep.
perpetual cycle of just now I'm going to play it because I just watched it, and now I'm going to spend money while I'm playing it, and then it just keeps rotating and rotating and rotating and rotating. So it'll be weird,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think esports will either have to do, like we said, that avenue, of amalgamating everything, or it's going to just be at a plateau forever.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be like a thing that's expected that happens with games. Like, here's a league, and the league lasts 4 years, and then it's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
It's the fucking
it's
weirdest
difficult.
thing.
It is difficult. It's not.
I mean,
It's
how
not as
weird
cut and
is that
dry
as
as
a
you would think it
company?
would be.
How weird is that as a company? You literally, so you're Blizzard, right? You have Overwatch. Like, let's make this league. Let's put a bunch of money into this. We're going to do this. It's going to make us money, but we know this is going to go away.
Right.
This is going to die. Versus a sport, if the NFL dies, someone could come in and make a different league.
Yeah.
And it would be picked up upon.
Right. Well, and in that example, I mean, for NFL, essentially the main fandoms that you have for football are either college football fans or NFL fans. Like, you get small groups of people that watch some of the other leagues, but I mean, predominantly you get more people that just watch the NFL, or they watch college, or they watch both. So I mean, you also run into that issue as well, because now you've got it's the more and more you think about it, the more problems you run into, all these different little roadblocks and things that come
Well,
up.
and the collegiate league for like league, nobody's really.
Nobody, yeah.
It's. I mean,
It's
people
almost
watch
more
it,
like a
but it's not
qualifier just to end
correct.
up finally getting to, the actual league.
Right. So
Hmm.
that like farm team shit where it's a linear progression up to the
Right.
pros. It's not. I mean, it's just not watched.
No. And honestly, I mean, I've never really met anyone that watches much of, for
Right.
NFL or anything either, or baseball. I mean, I don't know anybody who's a diehard, double A MLB fan, like
Well, there
but
are some, I guess.
there
But yeah.
are some. I mean, somebody's paying the bills for them, but yeah, it's bizarre. I think that's a lot of those. I don't know how much they're watched, but I think they're so funded by the teams above them, because
Right. That yeah.
the whole goal is right. But
Right.
esports just aren't at that level. I mean, you're not going to be able to fund all of the teams down below it to that point yet. I
Uh-huh.
mean,
Nor
it'll
nor
be
nor nor would you even want to, because again, if the lifespan of some of these leagues is only going to be 5 years, why the fuck are you going to make these smaller tiers?
right. And that's what I was saying about, now you're putting a lot of pressure on developers to make these games way
Right.
more frequently. So now, a game only lasts 2 years because you got to keep that player base up, and you have to keep the league going. And so now it's like, hey, it almost has to become like a Call of Duty, where it comes out every year, or it has to come out
Mhm.
every 2 years, but anything beyond that, now you're stretching it. Now there's going to be other games that come out in that time period that people want to play, and you're going to lose attention from these people. And yeah, it becomes a whole ordeal.
Fascinating.
Huh.
Absolutely fascinating. Well, guys, if you want to support us, we just blew our own minds. Head on over to patreon.com/Diggity Podcast. Become a patron over there. You can also get a free 30-day trial of Audible, which is an audiobook service brought to you by Amazon, by going to audibletrial.com/Diggity. It's Diggity. Get access to a ton of oh my gosh, of audiobook titles to choose from. Keep one for yourself. If you don't like the trial, cancel it and keep the audiobook, whatever. Do what you want. But listening to books is better than reading them. You heard it here first. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Diggity Podcast. Subscribe to your YouTube channel, also Diggity, for our live streams of the podcast. For those who are listening to the audio version of the podcast, or actually for watching the video as well, leave us a review. It helps us out a ton. It does 2 things for us. One, it gets us noticed on those platforms because they're pretty much based on engagement. And 2, if there's something that you really liked or didn't like, you can let us know in the review, and let's just make our content better each and every single time that we create a video or a podcast. You can find me on Xbox One. My gamer tag is Maple Jeff.
Mine is Luscious Brody, and you can also find me on PlayStation 4 at Wolverine's Cousin.
Sweet. And until next time, guys, we will see you for a regularly scheduled program in the new year. Oh, wait, no, this is technically on Wednesday, isn't it?
This is the first of the new year.
Shit.
Welcome to 2020, unless you're watching this
I
on
guess
YouTube.
you'll listen to us in a live and up-to-date news perspective, I guess, for the first show on our Friday one. So there we go. Great. Cool. Scheduling errors. This is what happens when you work in the past. Damn it. Anyways, guys, see you for the Friday show. See ya.
The future.